Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here, and it's time for a little fun video. If you don't think it's fun, then you should. I'm gonna give what I would pick for the Oscars. You know, we spend so much time predicting, but now it's time for me to say what my favorites are in the categories. This is about me. Let's go in alphabetical order because that's what it's like on the Oscars website. Actor in a leading role. I think I would pick Brendan Fraser. I am not the whale hater. I think his performance is really spectacular. I would be really happy if Colin Farrell won, and every time I rewatch clips from Banshees, I appreciate his performance even more. So I would say he's close. I mean, Austin Butler, I'm not gonna say that he doesn't deserve an Oscar for what he's doing. Elvis just wasn't really my kind of movie, and I like to see the awards go to somebody who's doing a little bit more like character study work. Austin Butler for sure nails the transformation in a way no one else could. Paul Mescal, some might think that I was gonna say him because I love Aftersun so much. I am ecstatic that he is nominated. I personally would not go further than just the nomination for him. Supporting actor. This video is not actually if I were to pick the Oscars, like how I would want to influence the Oscars. I want Ke Huy Quan to win the Oscar. If he didn't win, it would be upsetting, and I need it to happen. But my favorite performance in this category is actually Brian Tyree Henry. In a movie that is good, he is just spectacular. The way that he lights up every scene, the way that he plays such a down-to-earth guy trying to navigate really difficult emotions. I think it's really amazing, stunning work. Ke Huy Quan probably comes in second. And then I would say, Brendan Gleeson maybe. Like Colin Farrell, that performance did grow on me when I rewatched the movie. Barry Keoghan, I know some people think that that's better than Brendan Gleeson. I don't really think so. I think he's great, and I like that he got nominated a lot. Judd Hirsch, really incredible for the screen time that he has. I mean, he's probably in those moments just as good as anybody's been the whole year. Actress in a leading role, I would have given this to Danielle Deadwyler. She was the best lead performance of the year in either category, but she is not here, so what are we supposed to do about that? Ana de Armas was very good in Blonde, but there was too much about that movie that just wasn't working for me to be able to connect with that performance. Michelle Williams, that performance grew on me a lot second viewing. I wouldn't call it win-worthy. I don't know if she'd even make it in my personal actress lineup, but she is very good. And I think there's a little too much slander on that performance. Maybe I even contributed to some by saying that she was just trying to get an Oscar the whole time. The first time I saw the movie, I don't really agree with that anymore. Andrea Riseborough, honestly, that could be my third favorite performance here. She's amazing in the movie. And that's why I don't hate that she got nominated. Michelle Yeoh, I think what she's doing is amazing. I love that she gets to utilize all of her talents. And she does a great job grounding this film emotionally by bringing something deeper to the table with every scene, amidst all the chaos of this movie. But honestly, I think I probably would say that Cate Blanchett would be my vote. That performance is just top tier acting. If I was actually voting for the Oscar, maybe I would go Michelle Yeoh because Cate Blanchett already has two, and I would want to see Michelle Yeoh win. That could be really fun and it'd be worthy. So I don't know what I'd do if I was a voter, but I think Cate Blanchett slightly for me is the best performance. Actress in a supporting role. This is a really good lineup. For me, this would be Stephanie Hsu. When I saw her in this, I was like, this is going to be hard to beat for my favorite supporting performance of the year. She has movie star charisma and comedic skills when she's playing Jobu Tupaki, and this performance is also really heartbreaking. In every scene, you just watch Stephanie Hsu, you get so much out of just her performance. I would not even put Michelle Yeoh and Ke Huy Quan on another level than her. I think she is at least on the level of these two, which is why I feel like she had to be nominated along with them, and I'm glad she did get it. Carrie Condon and Hong Chau are both amazing in their movies. They are kind of close runners-up. Hong Chau's performance grew on me the second time I watched The Whale, even though other things about The Whale did not grow on me the second time I watched it. And Carrie Condon is also amazing in Banshees. She's really funny. She nails the rhythm of all the dialogue perfectly. So I would put those two next, and then I would say Angela Bassett, who's great in the screen time she has in Wakanda Forever. The movie as a whole did not really leave an impact on me, and I honestly did not leave the theater thinking I would nominate her or she's going to be nominated. I can see why people are getting behind it. And Jamie Lee Curtis, in last. This is probably the only category where I would rank Everything Everywhere last, although it is also ranked first. I like her in the movie. I think she's fun. And I don't hate that she's nominated. As long as Stephanie Hsu is in there, I don't hate it. I would have gone for Dolly De Leon myself. You know, it's just fun. Like, it's for fun. It's like, hey, let's get Jamie Lee Curtis in here. Come on, get in here, Jamie Lee. Like, that's what the nomination is. Animated feature. This one's actually kind of hard. I might even say Turning Red. Puss in Boots is good, but I don't get the Letterboxd hype on it. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is good, but I don't get the Letterboxd hype on it. Pinocchio is very good, but there were some like small issues that I had with it. Maybe a second viewing would like kind of flatten those out. But Turning Red I think surprised me the most. I went into Pinocchio with very high expectations. Turning Red I thought would be fine, and it was actually really good. By a hair over Pinocchio, I would probably pick Turning Red. But I have not seen The Sea Beast. Cinematography, boy, I would have picked a much different lineup than we have here. The only two movies I probably would have picked are All Quiet and Bardo. If it were up to me, maybe The Batman would get in. The Fabelmans would have been a pretty worthy pick too. Top Gun would have been a good pick. Babylon would have been great. After Sun, The Northman, Athena, Close, Decision to Leave, White Noise, even Blonde. I don't hate Tar in here. Empire of Light is just like not Deacon's best, so I'm just like, I don't care about that. Elvis, like, I guess it has some impressive shots and camera movements, but some of the cinematography and the coloring looked a little artificial to me. I'm a little baffled that it got in. You know, although Bardo is a little bit Emmanuel Lubezki worship, I think I will pick Bardo. I feel like All Quiet on the Western Front cinematography is just fine when it's not on the battlefield. Also, the opening and closing shot where it's like a POV of like someone running in a dream and jumping, it's insane. Yeah, Bardo wins for that. Bardo wins for that. Costume design, I would pick Wakanda Forever. The costumes are insane. And in terms of what costumes are supposed to do, in terms of character building, world building, like it doesn't get better than what Ruth Carter does in the Black Panther films. Directing. You know what my pick is, fellas. You know what my pick is. Everything Everywhere is the pick here. It is my favorite movie in this lineup, but also, I just feel like what Daniels are doing is so boundary pushing. Totally unique. Risk-taking. This movie really is just like nothing else, and that is because the directors are visionaries. The way that they're able to inject the movie with such overt silliness in a way that feels like thematically significant, the way that they're able to juggle through these different timelines, different genres, that wins the directing award. It's hard to say what the runner-up would be. I mean, I really did think Triangle of Sadness was a directing feat, especially just the tone and the pacing. I love how dry the comedy is. Tar was really impressive. The Fabelmans was great. Everybody in this category is great. But where's Charlotte Wells? Where's Charlotte Wells? Or Park Chan-wook? Documentary feature film. I have not seen All That Breathes or A House Made of Splinters, but All the Beauty and the Bloodshed is my favorite. As a look into like a specific subculture of New York in the 80s, I think it's really fascinating. The relationship with activism that the marginalized have had in this country is really well explored in this movie. Fire of Love and Navalny are very good, but All the Beauty and the Bloodshed was the one that had the biggest impact on me. Editing, you know what I'm picking. You know what I'm picking. It's Everything Everywhere. That is the editing achievement of this year. There are a lot of editing achievements this year. Decision to Leave, Moon Age Daydream, which would have won the documentary award for me. After Sun, but Everything Everywhere, in every way imaginable that you could possibly analyze or care about editing, it is incredible. Runner-up, I would probably say Top Gun. International feature, I haven't seen Argentina 1985. Oh wow, I haven't even thought about this category because I always thought like Decision to Leave was my favorite in it. They really knocked out some good ones. EO, I kind of like it, but I just don't like care that much about EO. Not the donkey, like I care about the donkey, I want the best for him, but I feel like I saw a better movie about animals and their perspective within a human world with Andrea Arnold's documentary Cow. I feel like that just did that better. Although EO has some of the best cinematography of the year, we can say that. The Quiet Girl, I've said before, like, I thought it was like kind of obvious. It's well done. It's a good movie, but it's like, yeah, I know you're going for that gut punch moment. Close. I don't think it's a perfect movie, but honestly, I think it's my favorite here. The cinematography and the performances and the directing are amazing. I do think the story kind of repeats itself a little bit, but All Quiet still to me feels a little bit like it's just doing what other war movies have done very well, but nonetheless, like it doesn't feel like anything that new to me. So let's just go with close. Makeup and hair. I don't know why Elvis is winning over the Batman and the Whale. The Elvis makeup, whatever, yeah, it's good. The Tom Hanks makeup, I think it's well done, it's just weird. The Whale was really impressive. I mean, the work like on a technical level, on like a craft level, and the behind the scenes of like how they 3D printed it and everything, like I think that's Oscar worthy work. But also the Batman was great. The way that transformed Colin Farrell is amazing. I think I'd go with the Whale by like a hair over the Batman. All Quiet, I love the makeup in All Quiet too. This is actually a really good lineup. Original score. If Women Talking was here, there might be a little competition, but it's Babylon. Babylon score gets stuck in my head randomly. Justin Hurwitz is a master. Everything Everywhere. That score doesn't like get stuck in your head, but the way that it follows the film beat by beat and enhances like every little moment, I think that score is one of the great feats of movie music of the year. Original song, This Is Not Too Easy. This Is a Life is pretty good. Lift Me Up is fine. Hold My Hand on its own is fine, but in the movie it's great because of how cheesy it is and the way that they integrated like the chord progression and the melody into the score, and then to have the song play at the end after you already hear those hints of it is really well done. And I haven't even heard applause from Tell It Like a Woman. I could have taken a few minutes to prepare it for this video by listening to the song, but I didn't even do that. Best Picture, you know what it is. It's Everything Everywhere. Number 2, second favorite, Women Talking. In third, maybe a tie between Fabelmans and Banshees. I don't really know which one I like better. Both of them grew on a second viewing for me. And it'd probably be Triangle of Sadness, which I'm also very glad got in. This lineup kind of kicks ass. Triangle of Sadness did not necessarily grow on me on a second viewing. I think nothing can capture the thrill of knowing absolutely nothing about it and watching it. And then I'd put Tar, which is a movie that I did a whole analysis on because I was fascinated with it. But it is a movie that I care like personally less about. Like sometimes I question like, why do we have a movie that is about these things? Like, why do we need a movie to be about these things? And I would mostly be able to give an answer for that, but I just like a little bit have part of me that's like, why? Like, it's really fucking well done, okay? But part of me just has that question, okay? Or like, why do I care? Top Gun Maverick, you know, a lot of times when there's like blockbuster films that have a lot of hype, you know, even this year, like Avatar or Wakanda Forever, I'm just like not there on it. And with Top Gun, I was like, I know why people like it. I'm on board. The score is great, the cinematography, and it just offers such a great crowd-pleasing experience. And I do really admire the movie stylistically and how it plays into like the pleasures of a old 80s action movie and even allows itself to be a little cheesy at times. I think it's kind of brilliant in a lot of ways. And then it would probably be All Quiet and then Avatar, but those two I kind of feel the same about. Really impressive movies that have really high highs, but I don't feel like I came away with that much with either of them. And then at the very bottom, it's Elvis. I just kind of think it's weird that people were like complaining about Bohemian Rhapsody, and then this movie came along and suddenly they were like, yeah! I know Baz Luhrmann as a stylist or whatever, like really pumped the movie up, and that makes it entertaining, yeah, okay, but the story itself is still the same as any other generic music biopic. The story is the same. There's nothing about it that is special, I'm sorry. The Tom Hanks character, we didn't need it to be from his perspective. That does nothing for anybody. I don't like that it seems like people talk more about the style of the movie than about how the movie portrayed Elvis, because it's a very uninteresting portrayal. He comes to life on the screen. Austin Butler brings him to life, and that's great. Like, that's totally fine. But does it get like deeper into the character? Like, only a little bit. It's like he died because the crowd loved him. It's like, okay, whatever. 8 nominations, guys. Production, it feels like we're done now because I just did picture, but production design. This one's actually kind of tough. You know, Elvis, even with like Moulin Rouge and Great Gatsby, I'm like, I think about those movies and I remember specific sets that really had me in awe. It doesn't happen with Elvis. I don't like think about specific sets. I'm like, yeah, he was on stage or whatever. I don't know. The Way of Water, I think that some of the villages were really well realized, especially with like the nets everywhere attached to the tree and they're jumping all over them. All Quiet has, you know, top tier production design. We've seen Trenches before, but I would say rarely has it felt this immersive. I would give it to Babylon. Even in scenes that I didn't like when they're going like 7 layers under the ground with Tobey Maguire, I thought the sets were fascinating in those scenes. That is a movie where you say production design Babylon, I have things that I think of that I think were really special about the set design in that movie. Like the scene where everybody's filming outdoors in their different sets, the main like party room sound. This would probably be between Batman, Top Gun, and All Quiet. The Batman, I feel like, had really intricate sound work, and not just in the showy moments where there's vroom vroom in, just in the way that his boots clomp on the ground, the sound mixing, the way it builds tension. I mean, that's pretty top tier stuff. Top Gun, you know, what can be said? There's the planes, there's the whooshing. All Quiet, some of the best sound work I've heard in a war movie. I'm very glad I saw this in theaters. I don't know, between those three, like, I can't really decide, because they're all special in their own way. Visual effects, I have to give it to Avatar, because those were simply some of the best visual effects I've ever seen. Probably the best visual effects I've ever seen. You know, if we're speaking objectively, like they were the most top-notch visual effects that anybody has to offer in the business right now. And the extra mile that James Cameron goes to immerse you in like the underwater scenes, like training actors to hold their breath and then filming them with motion capture suits underwater. They didn't have to do any of that, but they did. I mean, that just easily wins. That easily wins. Adapted screenplay. Congratulations, Women Talking. I've wanted this to win the whole year. Nothing else is even close. Nothing else is even close. I don't hate Top Gun because if you're gonna like the movie that much, the script is also part of the reason why it's good. Glass Onion, that would probably be the runner-up. It was fun, it was witty, and it had a good mystery. I wouldn't give it an Oscar. All Quiet, like, I don't know. It's really because they adapted the famous book. Most of the talking scenes were actually kind of boring and flat, so it's kind of a weird nomination, actually. Why couldn't they have done something more interesting? What about White Noise? What about Bones and All? What about After Yang? Even the Batman, like I would have rather seen the Batman in there than like a lot of these. Original screenplay, I guess I would maybe go with Everything Everywhere because the originality of that script, the ideas per minute, the inventiveness, the creativity, it's absolutely off the charts. But there are some other really good scripts in here, especially when you're talking about like the best dialogue. I honestly don't even know if I would say that's Everything Everywhere. It does have some really memorable lines, but Banshees, I feel like that dialogue is very masterfully crafted. And the comedy and the timing is great. I would say the same about Triangle of Sadness. And also that script is very original too. Tar, the writing's pretty immaculate there, and The Fabelmans actually is a really good script. This is a pretty goddamn excellent lineup, I would say. I don't even think I would personally stray too far from this if I were to make my own lineup. And those are my picks, me, for the Oscars if I was picking them. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Which Oscar would you pick to give to yourself?